Hi, my name's Eva and welcome to this channel. Happy Pride Month, everybody. We got the flags going, sun outside, living our best lives. So today we're going to be doing part 2 to my video all about 10 LGBTQ plus sex ed resources. If you are thinking, Eva, why didn't you include blah 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 in this video? Here are all the people that I included in that video. Go watch it, because I'm going to share 10 more. The first LGBTQ plus sex ed resource, a creator, YouTuber, and that is Ash Hardell. Honestly, I can't believe I didn't include Ash on the first video, to be honest. They have taught me so much about gender and sexuality, sexual orientation, expression. I'm eternally grateful to them. They also have a bunch of really awesome sex ed videos. They made a video about threesomes and group sex recently, which is amazing and a really fantastic resource. They also have a video about lube and of course talk a lot about gender euphoria, their experience with top surgery and being non-binary. If you are not already following Ash Hardell for some reason, go do that. Moving right along to number 2 is my wonderful friend and sex educator, Kai. Kai is a non-binary femme whose main educational platform is Instagram, and they talk a lot about navigating sexuality and pleasure after trauma. They have a really great video talking about if you get triggered during a sexual encounter, how to work through that, and also a lot of pleasure-based content. They're just really amazing and you should go follow them. As in my other video about LGBTQ plus sex ed resources, I am going to be combining some into categories here because there are so many, and of course also listing a bunch in the description, so if you want more, go check them out. But my number 3 is actually 3 different resources, and these are the sex ed guides created by Katie, which is Canada's source for HIV and hepatitis C information. Basically, they're a big sexual health organization in Canada, and over the past years they have created a bunch of really amazing sexual health guides for queer folks. So the first one is called Women Lovin', and it is a safer sex guide for queer women. They also have one called Primed, which is a safer sex guide for trans dudes having sex with other dudes. And then we have Brazen, which is a safer sex guide for trans women. Also, they're all available in French because Canada. Next up is Jemininga Eborn, who is a trauma specialist and sex educator. She hosts the amazing podcast Trauma Queen, where she talks a lot about trauma and helping survivors of sexual assault. Her most recent season is also about sex ed and the trauma that people experience in sex ed, and just talking to sex educators about their experiences. She is queer and rad, and also is funding for an amazing retreat, which is for survivors of sexual assault who identify as women of color. So if you want to check that out and support that, I'll put that in the link in the description as well. Number 5 is a sex education hub on Instagram, also a sex toy store, and that is Wildflower Sex. It is created and spearheaded by non-binary femme Amy, and their posts are amazing. They do sex ed Q&As on Mondays that are super duper informative and talk a lot about answering your questions about sex toys. Love all the educational stuff that they do, especially on Instagram. I think I'm on number 6. I may have lost count here. But next up is the amazing Erica Hart, or I Heart Erica on Instagram. Another wonderful non-binary femme, and they talk a bunch about racial, social, and gender justice. They also talk a lot about queer love and relationships and the relationship with their partner. It's just a very wholesome time and also lots of important education. My next resources are, again, a couple resources together, and these are based and created in the UK by the company and organization called Clinic, which is a holistic wellness organization for and by trans people. And they have 2 safer sex guides. One of them is called Cruising, which is again for trans men who have sex with men. And then the other one is called The Hookup, and it is for trans women and femmes who have sex with men. Next up, I want to share fellow Canadian amazing gay human Clementine Morgan, who is a writer, scholar, and she creates the zines Fucking Magic and writes about trauma, polyamory, queerness, gayness, sobriety. So A lot of her content on Instagram is really amazing, and also go support and check out her zines and books and workshops. So many things. She does lots of things. Next up, I have 2 safer sex guides for trans and non-binary people. One of them is called Healthy Bodies, Safer Sex, and then another one called Safer Sex for Trans Bodies. And they have a bunch of information about safer sex, dating, hormones, bodies, everything you could ever want to know. Last but certainly not least is Francisco Ramirez, who is a queer sexual health consultant and educator, and one of the hosts of one of my favorite web series at the moment, Sex Probs, which he hosts with Dirty Lola, who is also an amazing sex educator. And this show is basically Queer Eye, but for your sex life. They come into someone in New York's life who is struggling with some aspect of their sexuality. They want to explore role playing. They're working on sex after having kids. They're navigating sex with their disability, and they work with them on their mindset and their perspective, and also give them some really great tools to help them navigate their sex life. So I'm completely obsessed and in love with the show, and Francisco is an amazing queer host, and they have lots of queer heroes, I think they're called heroes on Queer Eye, that they're working with on their sexuality. We did it! Definitely more than 10 sex ed resources. And I have listed more in the description. Go watch the other video and check out the description of that video. Let me know if I should do a part 3. There is queer sex ed out there. It can be just hard to find. Also, myself. Hi, if this is your first video you're watching of me, my name's Eva. I am a bisexual queer, and I talk a lot about sexual health, pleasure, all that stuff. I have videos about grinding and the sex research on why queer people have more orgasms. So if you like that type of stuff, I'm also a queer sex ed resource if you want to subscribe and like the video. But that is all for me today. You can also follow me on my social media if you want even more content from me. I do share a lot of cool stuff on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, if I missed any of your faves, put them in the comments so that when I do make a part 3, they'll be in it. But yeah, that's all for me today. Have a lovely day. I have a feeling that this is just gonna be more than 10, and I'm just gonna write 10+ in the title because I want to share all of them.